Hi everyone, my name is Samantha, and today I'm talking about the long-term effects of uninvolved parenting in adolescence. My argument is simple, that when parents pull back emotionally and aren't involved, it does create long-lasting negative impacts. So let's break this down in a clear and easy to understand way. What is uninvolved parenting? Uninvolved parenting basically means low support, low involvement. Barman actually describes it as parenting style when parents show little warmth, little control, and minimal communication. That's the foundation that these teens end up growing up with. Maccabee and Martin also say that uninvolved parents fail to monitor or supervise, which leaves the child without structure or emotional connection. It's not that the parents are purposely trying to harm the child, they're just not present in the ways that actually matter the most. What can uninvolved parenting look like? It can be little to no supervision for that child, usually off on their own doing their own thing, little to no emotional or physical affection shown. The hugs, the emotional support, the pat on the back, those small things really do make a difference. There are little to no expectations or demands for behavior set. What you do is kind of what you do when no one's worried about it. Or limited interaction due to the parents prioritizing their own world. Maybe they're super stressed out with work, and just dealing with a child seems like something too much to handle, and they're just not interested in doing it. This can have really long-term emotional effects. Emotionally, this style hits the child super deep. Teens raised this way often grow up with low self-esteem because they didn't get that encouragement or emotional support at home. Barman even writes that children in this category frequently show poor emotional regulation and higher levels of anxiety. If no one's there to teach you how to deal or cope with your emotions, how are you supposed to show that when you're alone? It definitely matches what you end up seeing when that child gets older. They also struggle with trust. When you grow up without emotional safety, you don't naturally learn how to let people in. Maccabee and Martin point out that these adolescents often show detachment from others because they have a hard time forming new connections. How do you trust? How do you navigate when the people that were supposed to show you how to do those things were never really involved? It can also have really long-term behavioral effects. Behavior-wise, uninvolved parenting has really strong consequences. These teens often have weaker school performance. No one's asking you about school, no one's involved in your academic path. Um, Barman notes that they show lower academic competence compared to the peers raised with more responsive parenting. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. Nobody was checking homework or encouraging success. Risky behaviors also come into play. Maccabee and Martin found that adolescents from uninvolved homes show higher rates of delinquency and even possible substance abuse. If no one's there to bother to teach you right from wrong and what not to do and what to avoid, it's kind of a free for all. They link that to the lack of supervision and emotional guidance. Self-control is also a huge struggle. When you grow up with no rules and no one teaching you emotional management, you don't just magically learn those things on your own. Why do these things happen? All these effects happen because adolescents need stability, guidance, and emotional support, especially in their younger years. Barman stresses that parents who are uninvolved fail to provide the scaffolding children need for healthy development. Without that structure, kids are just figuring out life alone. And figuring out life means getting it wrong and learning those experiencing consequences and moving forward from them. The emotional walls, the trust issues, the risky behaviors, they don't come from nowhere. They come from growing up without someone showing you how to navigate your feelings, your relationships, and helping you make decisions. All of this is supported by research. Barman's 1991 work on parenting style gives us a clear understanding of how uninvolved parenting leads to negative emotional and behavioral outcomes. And Maccabee and Martin's 1983 research shows how lack of supervision and emotional connection leads to self-esteem issues, poor academic performance, and higher risky behaviors. At the end of it all, uninvolved parenting doesn't just create temporary problems. It shapes who that kid becomes. It affects their confidence, it affects their behaviors and their relationships well into adulthood. Emotional presence might seem small, but it can literally change a child's entire life. Thanks for listening.